Welcome to the Man Up Podcast. Today we're diving into a powerful topic, blind spots. Those moments in life where we don't see trouble coming until it hits us, whether in marriage, parenting, friendships, or work. We'll explore how to recognize them, get honest feedback, and grow into better men. Ready to face the truth and level up? Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of the Man Up Podcast. I'm your host, Terry Gwaltney, and listen, today, guys, I want to talk just for a few minutes about identifying our blind spots. Proverbs 12:15 says it like this, says, "The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice." Have you ever been blindsided in life? I mean, like maybe it was in your marriage. I remember a time where I thought, man, things were going great. I was focused, on things that were happening in my career. The kids weren't acting crazy. I thought, everything was just coasting. And then just one day I realized, everything wasn't quite right from my wife's perspective. I was just kind of blindsided. It's like, whoa, no, I didn't know that. Didn't know you felt that way. Or maybe it was with your kids. Maybe you were raising these little kids that thought you were heroes. And then one day it was like, I hate living here. I hate you. Just something bizarre just kind of happened. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? And you're just kind of blindsided. I think we all have these in our lives. I mean, we have them in our friendships. It's like, why is, Bob ignoring me? And you find out 3 months later, that you said something just really offended him and he just can't get over it. And it's like, I can't believe that. That wasn't my intention. It's not how I meant it. But the reality was you were blindsided by it. So blindsides are those moments that you just never saw coming in our life. And this is why it's so important, I think, to, have guys around us, other people in our life that we trust and we have enough relationship with, we allow them to speak into your life. And one of the things I've tried to do from a career perspective is look for those moments where there's people that are going to be looking to you for accountability. But they're also going to be looking to you, for direction just on a day-to-day basis. And one of the things that I've always tried to do is, listen, if you will give me permission to speak in your life, if we can have this agreement without you getting offended, what will happen is our relationship will be stronger and you will become better. Because if you think about it, there's very few people that we have in our lives really, that can tell us the things that we need to hear. Most of the people in our lives, if you just think about it, do a quick evaluation, most of the conversations we have are not hard conversations, and they tell us things that we want to hear, and we talk about things that we agree on. And as guys, there's very few things that we talk about that are really personal. And to have somebody in your life is like, listen, man, you always act this way, and you always get that response. If you would just change your attitude just a little bit when it comes to that person or that situation or your opinion, maybe keep your mouth shut, maybe listen a little bit more, you wouldn't be dealing with this same battle. But that sounds so simple. And from a guy perspective, we're always looking for the shortest path. But the reality is we don't have those kind of conversations typically because they're uncomfortable. And so we end up with all these blind spots in our life. So I want you to ask yourself today, what are some of your blind spots? Maybe it's pride that stops you from taking advice from people. John Wooden said it like this, it's what you learn after you think you know everything that really matters. And sometimes, we kind of get in our own way because we've created this image that we're almost a legend in our own mind. And sometimes it can be so subtle. Again, I remember the time in my own personal life, just being transparent, where if somebody was just arrogant and flamboyant, I really had a distaste for that, a disdain. Those would be people that I would just kind of move to the side, not somebody that I want to really be hanging out with.
Hi folks, Mark Gregston here. I'm the host of the Parenting Today's Teens podcast and radio program that's heard on over 2,000 stations. I look forward to seeing you at the upcoming Maintaining Sanity as a Parent seminar on March 29th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Legacy Farm in Stonefort, Illinois. We'll spend time discussing ways for you to effectively engage with your child, bringing them the guidance and help that they so desperately are looking for. Hey, I hope you can make it. This will be a great time of helping you keep your sanity. Hey, I look forward to seeing you there for a seminar that might just change the destiny of your family.
But I found out years later, God just kind of showed me that there's not that much difference between arrogance and pride. Arrogance is more flamboyant on the outside and easier to spot, but pride is something that you still can have. It's just as destructive. You just do a better job at masking it and hiding it. And what I had realized that I'd become very proud of my humility. And so when you find yourself in those situations, though, that pride keeps you from allowing people to speak into your life, or maybe receive correction, or just the kind of advice, well, that was great for everybody else in the room, but not me. I'm really glad Shane heard that. But maybe I was the one that needed to hear that. And so pride can stop you from just simply taking advice. Second thing, maybe it's a blind spot with anger. Anger can just really damage relationships. And anger, when you couple that with self-control, that's where it becomes dangerous. Anger in itself is just an emotion, and it's not sin. But when anger causes you to treat people the way you wouldn't want to be treated, talk to people the way you wouldn't want to be talked to, or harbor some kind of unforgiveness, that's where it becomes an issue. And I think a lot of times this anger can damage our relationships, especially at home. If you have people in your own family that don't want to tell you stuff based on how you're going to respond, that ought to be a warning sign to you. You've got an issue going on. There's all kinds of things in life that we're going to hear that we don't want to hear. And they don't make our day. But you need to be able to keep your emotions in check while you process through some of that stuff, and not make the people around you pay the price with your mouth, your attitude, just how you conduct yourself, because you're not self-disciplined. And so that could be a blind spot for you. I'll tell you a good indicator: watch your kids, because many times you're going to see in your kids the things that drive you the most crazy in your life from a parental role is when you see you in them, when you see them acting like you, responding like you. Well, what do you expect? They have your DNA and you've been modeling it for them. So maybe that's a blind spot. Maybe it's work. Maybe you're a workaholic. You neglect your family. In your mind, you're giving your best self and all your time to make your family's life better. But it could be a blind spot where your family is resentful because they feel like you have a mistress at work. You would rather spend all your time at work than you would with them. Now, your perspective is everything you're doing at work is for them. Their perspective is everything you're doing at work is taking you away from them, and you would rather just go to work than go hang out and go fishing, take me hunting, go shopping, go to my sports games, whatever the case might be. Maybe it's a blind spot for you. Maybe it's spiritual complacency. It just weakens your faith. There's a big difference. We're just having this conversation yesterday. I said, well, is he a believer? He said, well, he's a believer, I would say, but I don't know so much about a follower. And what he was saying is there's a big difference. I can believe that there is a God and that I need him, but my actions really begin to change when I decide to be a follower of Jesus, a disciple. In other words, I want to model my life after him. So the worst thing about blind spots is you can't fix what you don't want to admit, and we can't admit what we don't see. So super important. We need to have these people in our life. Listen, the strongest men, I think, are the ones that are willing to face truth about themselves. And if you're listening to this today, I believe you want to get better. I believe you want to be a better husband. You want to be a better father. You'd rather be a better boss. You want to be just a better friend at work. And you want to be better in your faith journey. You want to grow, be more like Jesus. So here's the question. How do you identify and then fix these blind spots? Well, I'm going to give you 4 things you could do. Grab a pen. If you're driving down the road, re-listen to this again, put it on 1.5 speed when you get back, and then write these down. Ask for honest feedback. Find a trusted mentor, a pastor, a friend. The key is somebody you trust, and then ask them, hey, what's one area where I need to grow? And that could be a big step for you. And when they tell you, well, that's not me. I don't understand why you would say that. No. You're asking them to help you. So don't defend them or don't make them defend themselves and become defensive about it. Second thing, stay humble and open-minded. Listen, if you reject correction, you're never going to grow. There's a whole principle of Proverbs 12:1. You need to receive feedback with grace. I think sometimes the people that know us the best probably could help us the most, but many times will tell us the least if those relationships are not healthy. In other words, you think about it, there's a certain amount of discipline and self-control you have in a meeting when somebody just goes all over you at work. If somebody says something that goes all over you around the dinner table at night, are you as reserved? Do you hold back? Do you have as much restraint? Do you exhibit as much self-discipline? I would hope you do. But sometimes we're on our worst behavior with those that we love the most because we feel like we can just say what we want. And the problem is our words have consequences. They really can hurt or they can bring life. And so I encourage you, don't just receive the feedback with grace. Third thing, check your reactions. Again, don't get defensive when someone points out a weakness. Why? The moment you begin to do that, that is a sign of a blind spot. Let me repeat that. Check your reactions. Don't get defensive when somebody points out a weakness. Why? It's a sign of a blind spot. If there's anything that you should be a student of in your life, it's the man in the mirror every morning. Why do you react the way you react? Why do you hold certain opinions? Why do you have certain triggers? Why do certain people with certain personalities are so easy to push your buttons? Study that. Know that. It'll cause you to become better. Fourth thing, sounds so simple, probably the most profound. Ask God to reveal them to you. You just pray, Lord, show me the areas of my life where I need to change. I mean, it doesn't have to be King James Version, these and thous. Like, God, I know I'm not perfect. I know this is not news to you. Will you show me some of these blind spots in my life where I need to change? And then be open when you start seeing them. Real strength, guys, I believe is found in humility. The men who refuse to deal with blind spots will keep getting blindsided. Don't be that guy. Man up and grow. So listen, as I close this out today, I want to give you some steps. Like, what should I do this week? Here you go. Ask a trusted person for some honest feedback. Just find one person this week. Go do it. This is the execution. Everything up to this point has been informational. Hopefully it's been a little bit inspirational. This is what counts. Execute on this. Second thing, write down what you learn and then make a plan to improve. Like, journaling may not be your thing, but you probably do take notes. You may take them on your phone. You may take them at work. You may have that pad. Maybe you are a guy that journals. I don't know. But you got to write down from that feedback what you've learned and then make a plan to improve it. And then the last thing, pray for wisdom to recognize and then overcome your blind spots. If you can execute on those three things, you will see progress. And what happens is when we get small wins in our life, they encourage us to keep moving forward. And you get enough small wins, it makes a big difference. You want to get to the championship game, you don't get there without winning a bunch of smaller games, because those games on an individual basis all have consequences and they all matter. And at the end of the year, they determine where you're going to end up. And at the end of the day and at the end of your life, what we're talking about determines where you end up. Remember, legacy is not so much what you leave to people. It's really more about what you leave in people. We'll see you next time on the Man Up Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Man Up Podcast. For more resources on your journey to becoming a better man, check out manupadventurecamp.com. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for our daily newsletter for encouragement and tips. If you haven't attended Man Up Adventure Camp yet, it's your time. Sign up now for Man Up 2025. We'll see you around the fire.